Hello beautiful people, I am Rhylie, and I'm gonna assume that anybody watching this video has watched mine and Maddie's buddy read of Love on the Brain, and that's how you got here. But basically this podcast type of video was supposed to be the outro for our buddy read video of Love on the Brain, but we ended up talking for way too long and just deciding to make it into a whole separate video that was kind of podcast type video. So this is a very spoiler filled review of Love on the Brain, and we talk a lot about the love hypothesis as well, and just a lot of different things that kind of relate to Love on the Brain. I really hope you guys enjoy it. I didn't really know how to do like an intro for this because it's very much just like us talking, but yeah, hope you guys like it. So we did try and record this already once and it didn't work out, so we're trying again. And hopefully this time it works a bit better. We want to talk about our feelings about the book. I don't have my copy, it's in the front room and I'm too lazy to go get it, so let's just pretend I'm holding a copy of it.
Wanna start, or do you want me to start?
No, I should say first of all we should talk about our ratings.
I gave it 5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah, so did I. It was so good.
It was very good.
It was really good. Honestly, I liked it better than Love Hypothesis. Maddie didn't.
It wasn't that I didn't like it better or more. I liked it pretty equal amounts.
Yeah.
I liked both of them.
Yeah.
And for different reasons.
Yeah, I did too. I liked both of them a lot, but honestly, Love on the Brain. Okay, Levi has like this very special place in my heart that he holds, okay? He holds it, and for that reason, I like him and I like the book more. Because I like him more than I like Adam, and I loved B. Like, I absolutely adored B, whereas I only really liked Olive. So for that reason and that reason only, I do love Love on the Brain more. But I do think they're both very good books still, like, to read. I would recommend both of them, but Love on the Brain is better, in my opinion.
See, I definitely liked B more than Olive. Sometimes I found Olive could be a bit jarring. But I loved Adam. Like, I just had a special place in my heart for Adam, and he just lives there rent-free now. So I loved Levi. I did like Levi. I think less so because Adam was like intimidating in real life, like in their everyday. In real life.
Do you know when I met him in the park? Like, he was quite intimidating.
Shut up. He's like portrayed as this like intimidating scientist.
Yeah.
Every day, and everyone thinks he's like really mean and kind of like rough, and you know, and then but when he's with Olive, he's very like sweet, and I loved that.
Yeah, but
with Levi, no, okay, wait. So with Levi, yes, it was pretty much the same. But then when it became an intimate thing, he was very not the way I wanted him to be, which was that sweet, caring. I didn't have anything wrong with it.
What do you mean he wasn't sweet and caring? Like, he literally
No, but he was. No, but like, he was. But he wasn't like Adam. You don't understand?
Because they're not the same person, Maddie. Like,
no,
if
I know.
Them would be the exact same. Like, so.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I liked that they were different, and I liked that they were.
Okay.
Like, I like both of them, but I think because I read Adam first and I connected to Adam first, he kind of couldn't, like, I don't know, Levi couldn't kind of top that, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like with you, like, I read it all in one sitting pretty much, whereas with you read it choppy with the Love Hypothesis.
I read the
but this one you didn't.
Like 70% of it all in one go, probably in like 2 days.
Yeah, but I feel like you don't get the Adam that I'm talking about until like right near the end.
Like, Adam Carlson is not God to me.
I don't think he's God.
Levi, though.
I don't think he's God. I think
you're on that train that everyone else is on, and I got off. I don't think.
No, but the thing is, I'm on both trains. I'm train hopping, okay? I can be on both trains. I split myself in half. I may have to split myself even more when we read the rest of her books. But
We will. I will be on 10 billion trains. But
I
will
like
always love
both.
I don't care. I will always love Levi more than I love any other man in a romance book. I don't know if he's like my top number one, but he is definitely in my top 5 romance, like male romance love interests. That's it. Love interests. I think honestly the reason I liked it so much is because I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. Like I was kind of expecting Love on the Brain to just feel very similar to Love Hypothesis, and where I would really enjoy it, but I wasn't like drawn to it, whereas I really did want to read Love on the Brain. Like I didn't feel like I had to push myself to read it because we had this video. I felt like I just really was interested in it.
Yeah, I think that was also because it was more your field of study. So like it was more about the brain, whereas
the brain is not something I actually study though, but like
no, but like it's more up your alley than chemistry is.
I do.
So
I think that also because I was very interested in what they were doing, like for NASA. I think NASA is really cool.
Yeah, and like Levi's an engineer, you're doing biomedical engineering. I think it was like there was that
also
interest
I think that
there.
It was the fact that the way that she describes male engineers is so accurate to how male engineers actually are. Like the amount of like you know what I loved most about the whole book is how she would reference, like her with Annie, her best friend, would reference stuff as like cop cluster and stuff like that. Like I loved that, and I related so hard to that, and maybe that's something that you didn't really get out of the book because you're not in the same, like I'm in a male dominated field and you're not.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in a female.
Because even though like my specific course, so half of my classes are 50-50, well it's a little bit more males, but it's pretty split. My larger classes are majority males, and so I do know what it's like to have a conversation with just men and be like, wow, like you really do think that because I have a vagina I don't know as much as you. Like
I think I've definitely had both. Like with my university course, it was predominantly women, and if they were male, they would be either of the LGBTIA plus community, or they were mentally ill.
I thought you were gonna say like POC, and I was like, yeah, no, mine's all white straight men. Like it's all white straight men, and we were
very like female dominated course, but there were guys. But the thing is, the guys were all really lovely and really sweet, and they had that writers. Kind of
And I think I really resonated with a lot of the stuff she said. Like I have personal experience, like dick referencing. Was it penis referencing? Penis reference, that's what she called it? Or
penis reference.
Like penis referencing is so real, like so real, and I have experienced it, and like until I read that I didn't really have any way to like describe it, but honestly like I might just go back through Love on the Brain and find all of the things that she says and like write them down on flashcards as like future things that I can say, because they just like they fit so perfectly, and I think because of that is like something that I loved so much about the book. It made me enjoy like the stuff that wasn't the romance, whereas like in the Love Hypothesis I didn't really enjoy much else but the romance stuff. Like I feel like it was very romance dominated and not very plot dominated or character dominated, whereas Love on the Brain was so character dominated, and like there was a huge plot outside of the romance, which I really loved.
I think in any field a lot of the time penis referencing is a thing. Like our faculty, our creative writing faculty was majority men, and when we did have female lecturers, they were temporary or guest lecturers. The only permanent lecturers were male. So it does kind of, I think, speak to, it doesn't matter what field of study you're in or what kind of career path, there is just
Or maybe
this.
that's because all of the women are off actually doing the writing. Like the men are just like, I've done one book, I'm good now. Like I can teach.
Yeah.
But we didn't say that. Don't come at me like white male supremacists. Like please. But like I think this is a really important topic to talk about. Like it is really important to talk about how like the male voice is represented in a lot of fields of study and a lot of just different things, whereas like in this, I feel like this book is one of the first times that I felt really like connected to like the way that she felt about that. Like she hates it, but not in the same way that like angry feminists hate men, you know, like it's
yeah. I think there was like there was a touch of it in Olive, and she did have that like carry yourself with the confidence of a middle-aged average white man,
which is something I really liked about her character,
which is she has a small, I think, as it being a debut novel, I don't think she wanted to her being Ali Hazelwood wanted to step into that, oh, all females are crazy about the inequality that females like face, or inequality as men would say.
Yeah.
So I think she kind of dialed back on it, but then when she saw how much kind of positive comments and how much reviews it got,
the women liked it who read it.
Yeah. She really lent into that, and I think she leans into that a lot more in all of her other books.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of, she just wanted to dip her toe into it and see, is this going to backfire on me or not?
Olive is like, no, B is everything Olive wanted to be. Like, B is Olive's role model of who she is trying to aspire to be, like, in that sense.
I think Adam and Olive were definitely like the blueprint.
Yeah.
And then B and Levi became the fully fleshed out characters that she wanted. And I think you can definitely see that because there are a lot of similarities in them.
But they don't feel the same. I don't think they feel the same. I don't think they this year, and they don't feel like it didn't feel like I read a book.
The thing is, I think every author, no matter how hard you try to differentiate your characters, there's always going to be an underlying set of values or morals or characteristics in them, because that's how you want people to be portrayed, and you want those are the things that you like in a person, so you're going to put them forward regardless of how hard you try. But they were different. They were different characters, but it's almost like if they cloned Adam and B and then just added a little bit more like spice and a little bit more confidence.
Let's talk about the spice, actually. While you bring it up, let's talk about that. Change the topic. That spice was not what I was expecting. But it was amazing.
I was like the one chapter where she's literally on her stomach the entire time. I was like, is she gonna do anything else? Or is she just gonna lay there? Is she just okay? Fair enough.
Honestly loved the spice so much. It's probably the best spice I've read outside of like fan fiction. Like because all the other books I've read with spice honestly aren't that good for spice. I've I read like
You haven't read Emily Henry?
No, I haven't. Spanish Love Deception, which gets a lot of hate for how bad its spice is. I liked its spice, but I did not know that there was spice as good as this. And I know that some people will not like Love on the Brain spice. They won't. But I did. It worked for me. The thing is,
you liked it. I liked it. It was fine. I didn't love it. But I didn't love the love hypothesis either. There were moments I liked, and then there were other moments where I was like, no.
No, we talked about this when we originally filmed this. We were talking extensively about bits we didn't really particularly like about the different spice in the books?
But I think that's like with everything, like with Olivia Dade and spoiler alert, and then all the feels. There were things where I was like, yeah, I like that. Like with April Marcus roleplay, stop. You do you.
But
Each
roleplay
to their
for me?
own.
Yeah.
The thing is, each to their own kink, right? But it just got to the point where I was like, I don't want to see it. You can talk about it.
But that's why, like, it's important to have different things, because all of us like different things. And you are not going to like every single piece of spice in a book written by an author unless you are that author or you have the exact same taste as that author. It just turns out I have the same taste as her, as Ali Hazelwood.
Well, in that particular novel.
In that book. The whole tit in the mouth, maybe not. The
rest... No, the thing is, that wouldn't even happen. It doesn't matter how small her boobs are and how big his jaw can unhinge. It would not happen.
It's just not... Considering it's a book about science, that is not scientifically accurate. You cannot...
Considering she is a scientist, she has a PhD.
I think she just let her vagina talk for her for a minute, and it was just...
I mean, fantasies. We all have our fantasies.
I mean, I don't really fantasize about Lewis's jaw unhinging so he can fit my tit in his mouth. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not.
Yeah, but then a lot of people don't fantasize about being, like, I don't know, strangled, and then some people do.
We need to do our things we liked and things we didn't like about the book.
Okay.
I'm gonna start with things I didn't like so we can end on a high note. Right. Okay. Because also it relates to the spice stuff. But it's like not that related. I particularly don't like in any book, when we talked about this before, like, I think I talked about this actually when I read The Love Hypothesis.
I think you also talked about it in All the Feels. Yeah,
I don't particularly like the huge height difference. It's not really a thing that I find attractive. I don't find describing a woman as really tiny and her male love interest as this massive giant. I don't find it attractive. I don't find it nice. I don't like it. I do think one thing good about Love on the Brain is that she didn't make it this like feature of like, ooh, this is so hot and sexy, she's so tiny and he's massive. Because even though they did have a really big height difference, she didn't mention it that much, and it was only really brought up a few times. And he was described as being large, but not just because he was physically large, but because his personality kind of dominated a room. So I did like how it was dealt with in this book, but I would personally prefer if it was never a thing. A little bit of height difference is fine, but when they're like massively different in height and it's like this massive description about how much larger he is than her, that is not something I love. But it wasn't that bad in this book. It was way worse in Love Hypothesis. I hated it in the Love Hypothesis.
I didn't find it in the Love Hypothesis. The only moment where I really did not like, because I'm not a huge fan of it either, but the only problem I had with it was in the sex scene, in the sex scenes where it says that you can see her ribs, and she...
But see, that's a different issue, because that's like her describing about like how skinny Olive, which I also didn't like that in the Love Hypothesis. I hated that in Love Hypothesis. That scene made me feel sick, because we shouldn't be like glorifying having your ribs on show, because when your ribs are on show, you're not healthy.
But that's the thing, like, in the Love Hypothesis, a lot of the... we could have a debate about this all day, but so like for me, yeah, I didn't enjoy where she was like, oh my god, he's so big and I'm so tiny, but then it would be like, but I'm not tiny, I'm 5'7", I shouldn't feel this way, and a man shouldn't make me feel this way, but he does. And then there were the bits where she was like, Olive is very slight, she looks malnourished, and I was like, I see where you're going, and you're saying it's a bad thing, but it also doesn't feel like you're making it a bad thing.
Yeah.
So there was that. I don't think it was a huge problem for me, because I didn't really focus on it a lot, and I was more worried about not fainting over Adam, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, I think also
yeah,
this discussion is like a lot about the love hypothesis, because love on the brain is not nearly as big an issue. The way that they look is not described nearly as much in Love on the Brain. It's kind of just like, and I really, really loved that. I loved that it wasn't a focus point of their personalities. It wasn't something that we needed to really know. You could really imagine B with any body type. Honestly, you could imagine her with any body type because of the way that she was described. She's short. That is the one thing we know about her. She's 5 foot.
Exactly.
So that is one thing we know.
And you kind of
mentioned once, and you can kind of forget about that.
You know that she has a fringe because she mentions it a couple of times, and she has piercings and coloured hair.
Yeah.
But apart from that, and the only thing you really know about Levi is that he's very tall, and he has green eyes
and fit. He's
very
like muscly, like he works out, like he's a marathon runner.
I think in this it's a lot different because in Love on the Brain it's first person, in Love Hypothesis it's third person. So in the Love Hypothesis you do see Olive and you do see her from other people's eyes, whereas in this one B can't really talk about herself in the eyes of other people, and I think that was the difference between them.
I think I just personally prefer first person, where you can actually pretend you're the like, to me, I was B. Like, B looked like me. She was like my body type, especially because I am a type of person that, like, I have a septum ring, and that's something that she talks about in the book. I have dyed hair, I've had pink and purple hair, I've had every colour under the sun. The only thing I don't have is tattoos. Wish I had tattoos, but I don't. So I imagined myself as B, and it wasn't that far of a stretch for me. Even though, like, I think that she's supposed to be skinny, that doesn't matter to me. I don't care. I am B. Like, if I want to be, I am. If I want to be, anyway.
I was like literally about to say that.
But whatever, that's not the point. I think I prefer first person for that reason, because you can be the person, you can imagine yourself, and then you can relate to the character more. I think that's one of the things that I was so disconnected with Olive about, was because there was nothing about Olive that felt like it was me, and it was nothing that I could really relate to. Like, the way that she was built was kind of just like, I don't know. I didn't relate to her that much, but I did really relate to B, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've talked about the size difference. Anything you didn't particularly like about the book?
Miscommunication is always, or lack of communication is always one for me.
I don't think there was a lack of communication. I think there was a lack of B acknowledging what Levi was saying out of his mouth.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, the thing is, Levi could literally sit her down and go, I'm in love with you, get over it. And she would be like, what? Nah. What? Nah, you're funny, mate. That is hilarious. So, and because a lot of the time, the thing is, I didn't really dislike anything majorly. That I always don't like the third act breakup, or the third act split, or the third act distancing, or whatever you want to call it, because there's always a third act conflict, whether it be a breakup or them distancing themselves from each other or whatever it is. I never like that, because obviously I'm the person who's like, just get together and stay together. Why are you doing this?
Just stop the book before the third act breakup.
Like, just stop it. We're happy, and we're done. We're done. No need to do this whole thing to reaffirm it.
I hate it as well, but I didn't mind it in this one.
I didn't mind it in this one, but
it wasn't as in your face.
But I didn't like that they just didn't discuss it either. Like, she didn't go, Levi, this is why I said no to you before. And I think they needed that. I think they needed that kind of understanding, because it becomes, he saves her life, and then they go and adopt a cat, and then they just get married. And I was like, but I do think they needed that communication, where she says, this is why I didn't want to be with you, this is why I am wanting to be with you now.
But I think that so I just imagine that they had those conversations during that 1 year that we didn't see. Or that, was it 1 year?
I can't remember.
Don't remember. There were after the end of the book and before the epilogue. No. Prologue? No, epilogue.
Epilogue, yeah.
Epilogue. I imagine that they had those conversations. So for me, it doesn't make that big a difference. Doesn't make that big of a difference because I imagine it happened.
I think it's 6 months.
It doesn't really matter.
8 months. So it's not even a year. But anyways, not the point.
Basically a year.
It's really not.
It's like...
But yeah, no, there's nothing in particular that I disliked about it. So.
Yeah. Okay, things we liked.
Boris.
Her RA, her sister, B's relationship with every single woman in the book. Loved it. Oh my god. Ricio and, oh my god, what was her name?
Kaylee.
Yep, them.
Levi with Penny.
Yes.
I liked that the child was actually the child's age rather than an age. So before we talked about this, I really dislike it when kids are in books and they're not the age that they are told to be, or they're not presented in the age. Like, even with, I loved The Off Limits Rule, don't get me wrong, by Sarah Adams, loved it. Her kid was, what was his name? I think his name was Levi.
Was it?
I think his name was Levi. But anyways, not Bree.
Jessie?
No, Jessie was the friend. It was Drew and...
Tessa?
No. I can't remember, not the point. Anyways, the kid in the Off Limits Rule, I think he was 6. He acted like he was 3 or 4, and it just really bugged me.
Yeah.
And it bugs me whenever kids are there like, oh, they're this age, but then they act way older, or they're this age and they act way younger. It's really irritating to me.
I do not remember the kid in the Off Limits Rule being 6. I imagine him as like 4.
No, because he is 6. He is.
No,
he
I know,
is
but
6,
because of how I remember him acting, I remember him being like 4.
Yeah. So it's really annoying, and I liked that in this. Penny was 7. She acted like the little boy that I nanny for.
She's quite smart though. I feel like she's quite...
Yeah, she had her moments where she could be like funny.
Some of the sentences though she said, I was like... But then I also kind of thought maybe that was just kind of a funny thing. Like, it was a funny thing that she did.
Yeah, but also like her dad was a scientist. Her uncle, I guess Levi would be her uncle. I don't know. But yeah, I liked that. Boris, loved him. He was like, not in a way that you're like, I would marry this man. Yeah. It's like, I am that man.
I am that man.
He was tired of them, and he was just like so done with life. And I relate to that on a very deep level. I just loved Boris personally. I thought he was a great addition. He just relieved the tension. He was great. The twist.
Yeah, I was about to say that I loved the plot of this book. Like the outside of romance plot. Loved it. Loved the plot twist. I loved the progression of the plot. It was slow, but good. You know, like, the beginning it was slow, but it was there. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. But it
worked.
Like, very good. Made it more than just, like I was saying before, it made it more than just, oh, I'm hoping for them to get together. It was like, I want to read this book.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of the time with romance, I spend my whole time reading the book being like, oh, I'm just reading to get to the next romance bit, or I'm reading for the next bit of tension. Whereas like this, I wasn't reading for the next bit of tension, I was reading for the book. But I think that's everything we needed to talk about. Things we didn't like, things we liked. We talked a lot about different things in the book. So we both enjoyed it. Would highly recommend this book to
Yes.
anybody. Like, anybody at all. Please read it. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Really hope that you enjoyed it. Please let us know if you liked this type of video. It was so fun to film like a podcast type of video. So I do think that me and Maddie are going to film more of these in the future after we buddy read books, just because it was so enjoyable to film and we had a lot of fun. So please let us know if there's anything else you want us to talk about, whether or not you want us to actually start making proper podcasts, maybe make it a weekly thing. Also let us know any of the books that you want us to buddy read. Also to let you guys know that I made a TikTok account for this YouTube. I'll link it down below. You can check it out. It has no videos on it yet, but I'm gonna try and convince Maddie to maybe help me think of ideas in the next few days so we can put something up. I'm sorry that it took so long to get this video up after our read of Love on the Brain. I've just been really busy and so I wasn't able to edit. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and let us know down below.